here. So there are tons of books written on sacred sexuality. When it comes to sacred sexual practices of Native Americans and Africans, a lot less is known in terms of documentation, because Africans and Native Americans tended to be a lot more oral than the Chinese. Chinese are excellent at keeping records, very meticulous at keeping records, and they're very good at making sure nobody messes with their records. So looking at the artwork is very important to me in terms of studying sacred sexual ideology, and especially with my ancestors who are African and Native American. So I use dance as a tool, studying traditional dances, religious ritual dances, social dances, learning the context behind it. So much has been encoded in the dancing. So much. So much has been encoded in the songs, which a lot of folk songs from the African diaspora and the Americas tend to be very sexual, and also actually tend to go from very sexual commentary and to political. And so what is the meaning behind that? Why are the female artists always more raunchy? In dancehall, the women are more raunchy than the men a lot of times. In hip-hop, we have the same thing. In a lot of the traditions I've studied, from Puerto Rico, from Haiti, from Brazil, the women are just a little bit more aggressive with the dancing and trying to seduce with the dancing, and playing with the male and playing with the drummer, trying to distract him. And this is what the female sacred sexual practices are about. Since we have a vaginal canal, our sexual organs are internal. So we are a lot more internal. And women, our sexual energy sucks in. And male sexual energy, because men, your genitals are external, and when you orgasm, you ejaculate and throw out into the world, then men relate more externally, and the male sexual energy spirals outwards. So women, we tend to hold on to more. So even though we all have yin and yang energy, and you have some women who have more yang and some men who have more yin, but having a female body, we are automatically more yin on a physical level. So in order to balance our yin energy with yang, we have to balance with yang in order to balance ourselves. That means that we have to, number one, release more. So for women, having more orgasms, more intense orgasms, is vital for our spiritual cultivation, our sexual health, our mental health, our health in general, the health of our sexual, the potency of our sexual energy is directly related to the health of our organs, directly related to the health of our internal organs. Our internal organs are reflections of our sexual energy. So they're very much related. For men, because male sexual energy pushes out, spirals out, it's important for men to learn how to hold back more. In the midst of a lot of stimulation, being able to remain calm and hold back more. So it makes sense when you see the dancing and the women are wilder and the women are trying to mess with the men and sit on the drummer's drum and shake their butt in the drummer's face, trying to distract this man, seeing if he can keep his attention. And while the woman is wild and lets go and goes, crazy. And throughout the world and throughout history, we find wild women. We find goddesses who are associated with blood and destruction. And those are always the dark goddesses. But all of the goddesses are associated with sexuality. You cannot separate goddess traditions or any goddess and sexuality. They all play a role in some sort in different phases of our sexual lives, and pregnancy and sexual needs. But sexual energy is not divorced. Sexuality and sexual energy is not divorced from spirituality when you're dealing with goddess cultures. Anytime that has been taken out, it's been rewritten by patriarchy. So this is lesson 2 of Sacred Sex. I'm going to keep adding on. I don't want to talk your ears off too much at once. There's so much to say. So until the next time, just you can check some books. Some good ones, The Sexual Teachings of the White Tigress. The author's name is HSI. I don't know how to pronounce it. HSI, last name LAI. And he wrote the book Sexual Teachings of the White Tigress and The Secret Teachings of the Jade Dragon. I highly recommend those 2 books. Also, The Multi-Orgasmic Woman, The Multi-Orgasmic Male by Montauk Chia. Just Googling Taoist. There's lots of books that's been written on Tantra and Taoism, but not like superficial weekend workshop Tantra stuff. There are a lot of people who think they can take a week workshop and become a Tantra instructor. Teaching, well, first of all, Tantra is a serious spiritual practice that takes years of studying and has many different levels. And a lot of things have been cheapened, these days, but one has to be born with sexual healing powers the way that you're born with any kind of healing powers, and you also train as well. But it's a lot more complex than a lot of people make it out to be. So anyhow, just look up some books or do some reading. I don't know, but I have more to say maybe tomorrow. Okay, have a good night.